The first step in any project for me is sitting down and sketching something simple. For me, sketching is more of a guideline, so I know what type of elements I need to sculpt, and then figuring out all the proportions, and then I'll worry about the details. So once I'm happy with that, I'll jump into ZBrush and I'll start laying out the main shapes. And once I'm happy with the volume and the proportions, I'll start worrying about details. For this one, the longest it took is the helmet, because I wanted it to be really clean and organic, and at the same time blend really well with the bear design. Next step is splitting and keying the figure and getting ready for 3D printing. Once the 3D print is ready, it's time for cleanup. One of the things that I love about the new Formlabs, the Form 4, it comes with this stand that you can, insert the build plate, and it makes it really easy to take the parts off if you're not going to put the build plate into the washer. Once the parts are off, I'll just drop them into the washer, and usually a cycle is about 10 minutes. And what I like about this is once the wash is done, it will just raise and sit there until the parts are dry and ready for the next step. Before I start sanding, I'll check each part to make sure everything is okay and I don't need to reprint any of the parts. Now it's time to remove the supports. I usually use a cutter or a heat gun to remove supports. What I like about the heat gun is that I can remove the supports faster and the results are cleaner. I do use a cutter only if I have small parts that have some intricate details. The first pass for sanding is wet sanding, and for wet sanding I don't use a grit smaller than 400, because I've noticed if you go under 400 you start scratching the surface rather than sanding the supports off. If you're using a sponge, you can go a bit higher. I've noticed because it has a sponge, I think the contact with the piece is not that harsh, and then I can go to about 280 and it's not going to damage the piece. Once I finish wet sanding each part, now it's time to use the linear sander. Here I'm using the Proxxon. I've talked about this in a previous video. And for dust extractor, I'm using this nail salon dust extractor, which keeps my desk and my lungs clean. Between each parts, especially if you're using sponges, you can clean them with a piece of jeans. I usually have like an old pair of jeans that I cut into pieces lying around to clean the sponges before I stop, because usually they clog up pretty fast, but they're still good for sanding. Next step is washing the pieces, and I know washing is not the most interesting thing to look at, but I put these in the video because washing your parts after sanding, it's really important, and I do it by hand because I want to make sure I don't have any dust or any resin in the crevices. So I'll go and wash each part and then I'll rinse them in clean water. Once that's done, I'll just put the parts in the dehydrator. Usually I'll leave these overnight and I'll start priming the next day. Now, while we wait for the parts to dry, I'm going to brush up on my character design skills. I found this lovely class on Skillshare, taught by Emma Gillette, and I learned so many techniques when it comes to shape language, exaggeration, and understanding areas of rest. Character design has always been one of those skills I wanted to keep improving, and Skillshare makes it possible with so many great classes. And as it happens, Skillshare is sponsoring this video. If you want to level up your character design, Skillshare is the best place to learn from top character designers. They have creative classes taught by world-class creatives, professional illustrators, and renowned graphic designers. It's the best place to learn a creative skill, pick up a new hobby, or reconnect with your creativity. I've been a member and a teacher on Skillshare for over 6 years now, and multiple classes have helped me through my career, whether it's character design, digital sculpting, toy design, or filmmaking. I'm a true believer that you need to keep your skills sharp and step out of your comfort zone to learn new things. The first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Once all the parts are dry, now it's time to apply the first layer of primer. And my first layer of primer is usually a filler primer. I use a 500 grit primer, and my go-to primer is the one from Mr. Hobby. I think it's called Mr. Surfacer, or you can also find it as the end of the name of Aquos, Mr. Surfacer, and they come in different grits from 500, 1000, 1200, and I made a video about primers, and I'll leave a link in the description if you will want to check it out. Once the primer has dried, I'll go ahead and check each part, and I'll mark it down with a pencil just to make sure when I go and linear sand, because the next step is not going to be wet sanding, I know which parts I need to give it a bit more attention, and I'll usually have a harsh light hitting from one side, which helps me to see any print lines that I missed or any scars on the part. This step is very crucial for me. I do this with every prototype and every figure that I've worked on because once you have the filler primer applied to the parts, and which will fill most of the print lines and most of the scars on the piece, I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything, and make sure you don't use any markers on the piece, because what I noticed is the ink will sometimes interact badly with the second layer of primer. Once I've checked each part, it's time to sand again, and this is my second layer of sanding, and usually this is the last one. I rarely do 3 passes of sanding, and this will be only with the linear sander. So I'll go over each part that has marks on. I'll make sure to take care of those marks first, and then I'll do an overall, because I want to make sure the texture of the entire piece is the same. So you'll see the parts are fully sanded when I go to prime them and apply the second layer. For the second pass of primer, for this one I use a higher grit, and for this I'm using 1200 or 1500 grit from Mr. Hobby, the same line, Mr. Surfacer or Mr. Aquos, depending on the bottle. Once I apply 1 to 2 layers, I'll put these in the dryer and I'll leave them overnight before applying the base color. Before applying the base coat, make sure the primer is fully dried, and I usually leave that for about 10 hours in the dehydrator, and which means overnight before I apply the first layer. Once I apply the first layer, then between each layer I'll leave the pieces inside the dryer for about 1 to 2 hours before applying the second layer. Once I go to the third layer, I'll leave them longer for about 2 to 3 hours, and then I can apply a fourth layer if needed. Usually for dark colors like black here, I don't go over 3 layers, because usually the Tamiya paint that I'm using fills in the piece really nicely. Once I apply all the base coats for all the parts, I usually leave them for about 2 days before handling them, and then I'll start hand painting or masking any details that the parts need. For this one, I needed to make a label on the shirt, and it was easier if I just sat down and hand painted it other than masking and airbrushing this. For the soles of the shoes, I wanted them to be white, so I decided to go ahead and mask them. But unfortunately, I forgot to record the airbrushing part of that. For this one, I used Tamiya masking tape. I used a mixture of the flexible one and the regular masking tape from Tamiya. And finally, for the claws, I needed those to be gloss, so I used the gloss polyurethane from Vallejo, which works great with the hand-painted brush.
Thank you.
And here's the final piece. And you'll notice a couple of things that I didn't record. You'll notice that the zipper on the backpack got the same glossy finish as the claws, and the label on the shirt was supposed to be red, so I painted it white before applying the red, just to make sure I get a nice color. For this piece, I wanted to have that mixture of flat and gloss by having the helmet like really glossy, then the t-shirt and the clothing parts be more of a satin. I didn't want to go fully flat because what I don't like about flat colors is they kind of hide the shapes of the figure. If you have like small details like folds or subtle details that you want them to stand out. I really hope you found this process helpful, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I reply to every comment. And I would like to thank my YouTube members and my Patreons for supporting this channel. So if you would like to see more of these videos and you would like to help out, I have a link in the description. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one. Bye.
Ła, Simka, mnie.